What's going on today, guys? In this video, I wanted to discuss how to capture long exposures using your high-speed continuous shooting mode. This technique is great because it does not require any expensive filters or unnecessary filter systems. You just need a camera that shoots with a high continuous mode, which is probably literally every DSLR today. The high-speed continuous mode is the fun mode where you just get to hold the camera down, just Okay, so let's jump right into the old Lightroom here. You can see I took a lot of frames. I will get into that in a minute, why I took so much, but this is the image here. So the thing that caught my eye about this image, I just really liked the big pine tree. There's a little bit of history that's tied into pine trees in New Brunswick, so I photographed them quite a bit, and I just liked how it stood taller than the rest of the canopy, and I knew that when the sun set, there would be some beautiful colors behind it. So I initially framed this composition up, and as I was firing off shots, I realized that the road in behind there kind of worked as a little leading line. You can see it in the star trails here along the bottom of the frame. So how I actually captured all these separate 100 and some odd frames is I had the camera on high speed continuous shooting mode, and as the traffic would drive by and enter into frame, I would just hold the fire button and I would just take shot after shot as the cars were driving by, and I would get little snippets of the vehicle lights, and then I knew that I could just simply merge those and stitch those in Photoshop. So if you look through some of these random frames, let's go to 50% here. If you look through these random frames, you can see that the vehicles were just slowly passing by, and even with one vehicle you could probably get a full trail through the frame. And so it really depends on what your composition looks like and how much traffic is going to be involved in that scene. You should also do it towards sunset or a time when it's darker, and that way you can get away from using filters. You can just use your camera at a higher aperture or wherever it's dark. So in this instance you can see it was really dark, so getting half a second to a full second exposure was no issue. So as traffic was coming by, I would just hold down the high-speed shooting mode and it would just fire off shots. And I wasn't worried about shake because all those shots that I'm going to take actually were just for the light trail at the bottom of the image. And then after I collected all those frames, I just took a regular shot of the actual scene with the pine tree and the sky in the background. So this image is actually made up out of probably 5 or 6 images stitched together. And if you guys want to see a tutorial on exactly how I stitched all that together, just leave a comment below and I'll easily could just do a quick tutorial showing you guys how I stitched them all together. It's pretty easy in Photoshop. So I wasn't really that worried about camera shake because I knew that I was just basically using it for the light trail. So it really depends on what you guys are going to be shooting or what the scene is, but most of the times when you're doing long exposure, a little camera shake, you're not going to really notice it. So that's basically the technique. It's actually super simple. Just get your camera all set up, set your camera to your high-speed shooting mode, whatever camera system you have, whatever that mode is called. Just set it to that mode, and as traffic or whatever light source is going by, just hold that button down and take continuous shots. Try to keep a shutter speed that's anywhere from like 1/10 of a second or a half a second. If it's too long, then as you're holding the shutter button down, it's not going to be capturing all that information if your exposure time is longer than a second or two. So try to have it somewhere between a half or a quarter of a second. And then afterwards, once you get back to the computer, you just stitch the light trail together in Photoshop. And then after that, just take separate frames for the actual scene, just so there isn't as much shake and you can get those nice crisp super sharp shots that you can then blend with the light trail. So that's everything for this video today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Just a quick, super simple, easy, long exposure technique. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you in the next video.